Hmm.
I see the red dot. We are recording. Welcome to LangTime Chat, episode 7. Oh,
Woo.
this is good. And I have something excited planned today. Exciting would be the better word. I'm excited about the exciting thing that I have planned. And I've got multiple areas of notes here, so I'm juggling many things. Okay, so what's going to happen here? We're playing a game.
Yes. Yes.
You're the contestant. I'm going to read a sentence or phrase that I translated into one of your Conlangs. And here's the best part. I did it based
Oh
only on
my
the
God.
information I could find on your wiki page. So, I know this is going to be great. Right?
Okay.
You're going to guess what language it is. Okay? But you don't have to guess what I'm saying because I get it. If you can guess what I'm saying, then you get bonus points and we'll figure out points at the end.
Nice.
So this is going to be challenging, by the way, for people listening for 3 big reasons. The first is that David has a lot of languages. So there's options. The second is that my translations may be totally wrong. Because, the wiki doesn't even have all the grammar information. So
I've been having a time trying to figure out how I want to format it. And then of course it's just a lot of effort.
Yeah, with the effort, but also the formatting, I can imagine would be a nightmare, especially knowing, and people listening will likely know because surely you've watched the live stream, you know what the document looks like, and trying to think of how that would work on a wiki page, kind of gives me a headache just thinking about it. Okay, so now the third reason this is going to be difficult is because I'm pronouncing it. Which means goodness only knows what's going to come out. And so then after you have your guess, I've written some questions, and if you have any features you want to share about the language that you find cool, and I can tell you what I find cool, we'll do that.
Okay.
I'm already laughing because this is going to be horrible.
Yeah, I'm going to be so embarrassed. I mean, hopefully, I'm just hoping that there's going to be a keyword that I recognize that'll clue me in. I'm just.
Yes, but you always have the out to say, oh, your pronunciation.
Yeah, you wrote it down in JPA, I assume, the Jesse phonetic alphabet.
No, that would have been smart. It would have been smart to also use IPA because sometimes I forget going back and forth between the romanization and IPA. So that would have been smart. But I did, however, in multisyllabic words, underline the syllable I should be putting the stress on.
Okay.
And we're going to find out if that worked for me.
Because, some of those are actually real world romanizations. So they don't always do the things I do because they actually have some cachet in the real world.
Yeah. So like I said, real interesting.
All right.
I'm ready?
Yes.
Game face. I got to try not to laugh while I'm doing this. This is serious. All right. Sentence number 1. Justrisis don lusem nulif blinka. I think I held my breath while I said that too.
Okay, so that's definitely Trigetta sign. So you gave me an easy one first, and that's
yes, I did.
And that's your little sister, and then something your eyes, but I missed the verb.
Yes. Okay. Don loose. Yeah. And then loose.
Yeah.
Im nulif blinka. Don loose im nulif blinka.
Okay. Okay. So, I mean that's not actually a complete verb. It needs the other part of it. So
okay, so that was my question, and it was in square brackets because I want to talk satellites with you.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think the satellite would be ow. So lusem nulif blinka ow.
So yeah, so they just she freed or something to that effect. What's a new leaf? New leaf
blinka.
New leaf blinka. So it's something's eyes. So it opened. The little sister opened the eyes of the new leaf green. Oh, she opened her own eyes. She opened her green eyes. Is that right?
Yes, yes. Holy crap, you're good. Okay. So, side
Okay.
note. So I did it
Yeah.
without the satellite because in reading, I didn't cheat, but this one actually has a very extensive grammar on a fandom page.
Oh yeah.
And so I looked up information there because all the grammar stuff is not all in the wiki, or maybe it was your Tumblr that I found. I don't remember, but I
Mhm.
read about satellites with the verbs. And so for anyone wondering what I'm talking about with satellite, the verb was loose ow, and the ow goes at the end, like if you're familiar with German, kind of getting separable prefixes kind of things. But on a site, it said a verb that is agent initiated, motion or causation will not have the satellite. So I didn't know if I wanted the interpretation that she purposefully opened her eyes, would I leave the satellite off, or is this a verb that always has a satellite?
I will have to look up who wrote that and what exactly they're writing and why, because that's just completely wrong.
So it's probably on the fandom page then.
Yeah,
since I wrote
but
down like kind of a quote there, that's what I was quoting from. So yeah, it was probably on the
no,
fandom page.
but the thing is, that's not coming from nowhere. That came from somewhere. That came from
Uh-huh.
somewhere, and so I need to figure out where that came from, um, because that's just not correct. That's just not correct. No, you have to have it in there. It's essentially
Mhm.
two parts of the same verb. It'd be kind of, I mean, this system, of course, comes directly from English.
Mhm.
And so that's how we have with the verb like take, where take means something by itself, but take in means something different, take up means something different, take out means something different, take
Mhm.
off means something different. Take off can mean two different something difference. In fact, there
Right.
are two different takeoffs. Um, and in those cases, you can't simply remove those prepositions.
Right.
Like, saying like uh, the rocket took yesterday
Mhm.
because there was nothing else. It just wouldn't mean anything. So with Triget's slang, most of the time, um, it simply got rid of any usage of the English verb that didn't have that
Okay.
associated preposition. It was just no longer a preposition, more like kind of an
And
adverb.
would it always be at the end versus how right now our current version of English, you would, if it's a pronoun, it has to go before it. So like take, or sorry, it has to go after. So like take out the trash versus take it out. You can't say take out
Mm.
it. Like, will it always be at the end, or is it still movable in Trig slang?
It's movable, but it's not movable in the same way that it is in English. So
Okay.
uh, its default position is at the end,
Okay.
and that doesn't change by verb, which it kind of does with English.
Right.
Um,
Right.
it is susceptible to heavy shift,
Okay.
um, and also it moves when you want to. I forget if it's emphasize or focus or whatever the object.
Hmm.
So if the
Okay.
object is more in focus, it comes last.
Okay. And with the heavy movement, does that mean if I had like a really heavy object that I would put that little satellite before the object? Is that
Yes.
okay? Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Wanted to make
Um,
sure I was understanding that correctly.
yeah. By the way, another little fun factoid about that. So one day we were coming up with a bunch of words for colors. So this is me and
Hmm.
the fans of Tree Get a Slang Slack crew. And when it came to green, I thought up, new leaf, because, a new leaf is green, but also
Hmm.
it's a very rare, almost impossible, could never happen in any other language. Shout out to my agency, New Leaf Literary. Like,
Nice.
in what language could I ever do that? And here it actually made sense. And so
That
there it was.
is awesome. So I also, because I was going through the dictionary. And so this is like the most backward thing you can imagine while you're trying to translate something. I essentially like started with the noun entries and just kept clicking on nouns until I found some that would work together and would make sense in one sentence. So like this is how I composed. But like one of the entries that I was immediately drawn to just because of how it sounded was freak trainer.
Oh
And
yeah.
that one I found interesting just because, by the way, I've never actually seen the show. It's something that I do want to watch, but like I remember you warning me that me with my sensitivities to gore may not be able to watch the whole thing with eyes open.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I'm fascinated by the language. So at some point I will just watch it just so that way I can hear it. But that one in particular caught my eye. I couldn't figure out how to work it into a sentence because that's just really random. Because it means like somebody who didn't get the radiation, or like it's a very specific thing for the show.
Yeah.
And that one was cool because like you talked about all the different variations of coming up with the word and how it ended up actually being somebody from the show itself who put it together. And I thought that was really neat to see all the different possibilities that it could have been along the way.
Oh yeah, that has happened several times where, I've been asked on the show, it's like, hey, give us a word for this. And I'm so like, so I say, okay, here's that word. And they're like, can you give us some variants? And it's like, this isn't, this isn't an a priori conlang. Like, this is
Right.
English, right? What do you want me to do? I can't invent more. I just can't invent English words. So I try my best. It's a
We
fun
invent
exercise.
English words every day. You can do it.
Uh, I blows that, but so the problem is like,
I forgot my chair is broken. I can't lean back. I'm gonna flip over. That gave me
nice.
a good lean back laugh though. So
There you
okay.
go. But it's a fun exercise because it requires you to stretch your brain, because it's like, hey, we need a word for this, and it's like, well, this is the most obvious word, and they're like, I don't like the sound of that. Can you do something else? And it's like, this is your own language you're working with, and so you're just trying to stretch your brain to think, what possible other associations can I draw to somehow approach this term?
So was the
And
thesaurus like your best friend at that point?
what did I often do? Um,
Because I
well,
feel like that would have been what I did.
you know what? Sometimes, gosh, and this was the worst. There were some times where I changed a word even though it was really good and perfect,
Uh-huh.
because of the lamest possible reasons. One of them being that in Trigetta slang, right? SH just makes the sh sound,
Sure.
right? Very simply. Um, However, it also compounds. And
Ah,
so there can be instances where you get a word ending with S and a word beginning with H. And in fact, it would
right.
happen a lot when I was trying to come up with different type of words, because Heda is the word for the commander,
Hmm.
and they have at various times wanted different words for, like, commander of death, commander of blood, and so on.
Sure.
And so it's like I try like, okay, this word makes sense, and then I see SH next to each other, and I'm like, goodness gracious.
With
Am I putting an apostrophe between these? A hyphen? Ugh.
hyphen, total hyphen. That would have been a problem too with TH, right? Because does trigonoslane still have the TH, the theta?
It does have th, but it generally that wouldn't be an issue because there wouldn't be a
Okay.
word ending with T.
Okay.
Actually,
Okay.
wait, Matt Hedda. No, yeah, you're right. It would be a problem with th as well. No, you're right. You're
Mm.
absolutely right. It just never happened to occur.
All those little graphemes that we run run up, the digraphs, I should call them the
Mm,
digraphs. Okay. So that was trigonoslane.
yeah.
Did you have anything else to add before I go to language number two?
Oh, I'll also just add that Blinka is one of my oldest words. It was like a part of the very
Nice.
first sentence I created for them when I was coming up with an example,
Uh-huh.
um, for like what I was thinking of for the sound. And then they heard it and they're like, whoa, that's way too much. Change it.
Change it. I like that word, blinka. That was
Yeah.
fun. Although it oddly, and not, this is going to be the weirdest thing that it reminded me of, but just go with it. Whenever I saw the word, the first thing that popped in my head, and I've never seen it, I've only heard about the show, is the Peaky Blinders
Oh yeah.
show. And I don't know why, but when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, it's like blinders, blinkers. I don't know. Like, I don't know why. Maybe it was just because the sounds, if you put them all together, eventually you get blinker.
That has been on my to watch list for like 2 years. I really want to see it. I haven't seen it either.
I've been told that it's amazing. It's just, again, my inability to watch
Yeah.
certain gory things. Okay.
We'll watch it together. Blinky blinkers.
And my blinkers will be closed the entire time, so you can just tell me what I'm missing.
Dock your blinkers up.
It would be Lucy Blinka ow.
That's it. That's it.
Yes. Okay, I'm practically a native. All right, here's the next one.
Number
And
2.
oh God, I should have practiced this. Okay, I've got this. Fimbri Fulip Heshkushim Huma Echinip.
I recognize that one. That is whatchamacallit, shoot, Eulish from
Yes.
Christmas Chronicles. And that one is a fun one. Can I ask you a favor? Can you either hold up that card or type it into the chat? I'll give you my read on it. Here we go. Oh, okay. So that should be Femlish. Philip, okay. I say Femlish. Philip Heshkushim Humah Echenip. Wow, I don't even recognize that last word. So yeah, I know that first one should be Femlish because you're saying friend, right?
Okay.
And so
And
it has a
the
vocative
vocative.
case. It has a vocative case.
I
And I
missed
know
that.
yeah, the vocative ends in sh.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Well,
I recognized hum. That's
okay.
it's a preposition, means like inside, right?
Over. It's a suppressive.
Over? Dang.
Yeah.
That was way off. All right.
But it's a preposition.
Yep. Philippe, it's probably to do, right? And that's just an infinitive, looks like.
It is an infinitive. It's not to do. It's to
Philippe.
get or grab.
Oh, okay. Philippe Heshkushim. Okay, and that's definitely an accusative, so that's nice. Heshkushim, I don't recognize that. I kind of remember creating it. It's a fun word, isn't it?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Like I just keep holding the card closer, like maybe that'll
I
help.
know. Echenip, I'm never gonna get. Echenip, I'm never gonna get. I'll tell you that right now.
Sure.
Heshkushim? Is it like snowball?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, you're getting so many bonus points right now. Okay.
Okay.
So it
Echenip?
is snowball, but it's plural object. So it's
Oh, of
snowballs.
course. Snowballs, right.
And then echinip is bough or branch in the
Really?
object case, in the object form.
Uh,
Echin.
are you sure? That looks like a nominative plural.
No. Well, now I need to double check. Just a second. I thought so. Oh, and I still have the website pulled up, but let me just, dance on over to Eulish. So that one was one of the nouns. So I'll go there to shorten down my list of possibilities. And it is nominative plural. Oh, that is so unfortunate. It should be in.
Okay, and then was it intended to be indefinite as opposed to definite?
Yeah, Not really. I just forgot to write that down when I was taking notes. So it would be, if it were the branch, it would be echinina. We'll go ahead and make it that because that's cute. And
Echinina.
oh, you say it so much better. And I put the stress on the wrong syllable, not really helping myself. And I do want to check the prepositions for huma. And
Huma.
then
Yeah.
let's see. Yeah, it's over or above.
Okay. So it's like grab the snowballs above the branches.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I wanted
first,
under. I wanted under the branches, but I couldn't find the word for under. So it became over. Like the branch is on the ground and the snowballs are on top of it. Just go with it.
yeah, no, it's probably because there isn't a word for under. Um, I'll get there one day. But okay, so the verb should be in the imperative.
Yes, in
Fylleta, fylleta.
great. I did not find that information on what verb form should be. And so one of my questions
Yeah.
was I didn't know how to inflect the verb form, but that would be fulita.
Fylleta,
Oh, fulita. Totally different.
fylleta, fylleta. It always has
Fulita.
a gem in it. Um, so it ends in ata and it always has a gem in it, right?
Uh-huh.
Um, hold
Did
on.
I?
I
Yeah,
I thought
okay. So
I
I just wanted to make sure that I wasn't missing something. Unless, oh my gosh. Oh
yeah,
my
there's the
gosh.
conjugation.
Anyone listening, make sure you clip on the, expand button for the conjugation. As I like embarrassingly drop my head, like, don't. I did not even try to click on the expand until just now. And then this big, beautiful chart opens up. And that would have been the information that I needed.
Yeah, I thought that I did conjugation for that one. I haven't done conjugation tables for most of the verbs because it's really difficult, but with that
Right?
one, I thought it would be easy. So I did. Okay, so this one, okay, this language just, I mean, it was designed for, elves in a kid's Christmas movie. So it was supposed to be, cute. And actually, when I do my own
Sorry,
read,
your direct quote was warm and fuzzy. Go
there
on.
we go. And when I do my own read, I actually do my little elven accent. So, you know, "Fylleta," you know, "Fylleta hiskyshin," and so on.
That is amazing.
Yeah, for the first movie, I actually did get to record some lines with the group when I was there. So I'm in the movie. I'm one of the people saying "Grana Pichu."
Are you for real?
Yeah,
That's awesome. And wait, can we back up a second? Because you said
yeah.
first. Is there a second?
Oh, I mean, there is, but I don't remember if I was supposed to say that.
I may need to do a little a little blip out.
Let's find out. Let's find out. Um, I mean, yeah, it's been announced. It's
Okay.
coming out December.
Yay! Oh, that's exciting. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I did that.
So, whew, I don't need to edit anything. I was like, oop, I have to go
Yeah.
back and
So
scratch.
so the now I've noticed that one of the flaws of
Hmm.
IPA in general um, is of course everybody knows one of the flaws is intonation, but when it
Right.
comes to stress, so this is definitely a stress system. There's no way with IPA to, I think, adequately indicate how stress works,
Hmm.
which is that the I've been saying that the stress syllable is the last syllable, and generally the way it is the second to last syllable is actually stressed,
Hmm.
but there is a rise on the last syllable.
Okay.
Um, so it's like heshkishim.
Okay.
And in fact, if you look at the language, more often than not, the second to last syllable has either a long vowel or a coda, which allows you to kind of put that emphasis in there. The
Right,
only
right.
the only exception to that is imperatives, where it's absolutely stressed on the first syllable. Filleta, not
Okay,
filleta. Filleta.
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, one of the words that I had wanted to try to figure out how to put in there, and it's probably a good thing I didn't because now I'm even like in my head trying to say it. Huashk. Huashk.
What?
You get the followed by a W.
What?
Huashk.
Is
Huashk.
it KHW?
Yeah,
KHWASHK?
yeah.
Question.
Oh, you get the huashk. Huashk.
Question.
Okay, there we go.
What is it?
Noise.
Ah, question.
Huashk.
Yeah.
So probably though a good thing because that one was a tough one. Okay, so then the other thing was that I couldn't necessarily find, and I'm not going to say it doesn't mean it's not on there because you saw I didn't click on expand, so goodness knows what else I missed, was word order. And so I just guessed that it was a VO word order based on like a couple of examples I saw.
It's actually usually the verb comes at the end, but for imperative
Ooh.
sentences, the verb comes first. So you did put the verb in the right place.
By accident.
Yeah. But yeah, for like ordinary sentences, yeah, the verb does come at the end. So it's basically SOV.
Okay. Okay. So awesome. You did another great job. I can't believe you knew any of those words, quite frankly.
I remember
Uh,
Fembly because it's like I came up with it for a friend and I thought it was kind of cute, but I also thought it was just didn't work at all. I don't know, it reminded me of something else, but it was cute.
reminds me of
Fembly.
family. Family.
That's it. Oh, maybe that's why it sounds nice.
Why it's all warm and fuzzy. Okay. Here we go.
Number
Wait,
3.
let me underline where I know I was supposed to underline. Okay. I'm right. No, I'm not. Yes, I am.
Okay, number 3.
Jitanu simoa hini angiwa.
Oh, okay, so that's definitely Munjakin from Emerald
Yes.
City.
Yes.
I mean, it's got the word Simoa in it, so of course you know that word I didn't invent. That word was in the script from day one, so somebody
Okay.
else invented it. So Simoa and Munjakin were, and then that Toto meant dog.
Okay.
Those were the only words that were in the original script. But yeah, Ngiwu, did you say at the end?
Angiwa. It's two different words.
Oh, Simoa hini Angiwa. Okay. Jitanu
Yeah.
Simoa.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. I keep moving it as soon as you start reading.
Here we go. Jitanu Simoa hini Angiwa.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what I said.
I love this language.
I do
And
too.
are you sure it's Simoa and not Simoa?
I probably underlined the wrong thing.
Let's take a look. Oh no. Autocorrect. Don't do that.
Oh, don't you hate
There.
that? It thinks it knows what you want.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. So I'm looking up.
Really?
I
That's
don't
the
know.
stress? No, you have it right according to that, but
Okay.
do I have it wrong on the webpage? Now I gotta look it up because it's not usual, I will just say.
Okay. So normally it would be Simoa.
Yeah, ordinarily
Okay.
it's pretty like it's pretty much always penultimate stress unless there's some special reason that it should not be. And I invented
Okay.
special reasons for it to not be. Simoa. I have it wrong on the webpage. My bad. I will fix it. Thank you.
You're welcome. See, that's what I'm here for. We'll have to do
Dang,
more of these. Find
that's
errors.
like a hero word. I gotta fix that. Anyway,
Um, okay, so in this language, by the way, I looked up and found a quote from you. You describe it. Are you ready for how you described it?
yeah.
I love this. A language that sounds at times like a pinball machine and at other times like a babbling brook in a stony pond.
What on earth? if I didn't know that I had never done a drug in my life, I would ask, what drugs was I on when I came up with that?
And I was like, how do you have a brook in a pond?
I'm wondering that myself. Pinball machine seems kind of accurate. I don't know about the second one. Did I do this for like press or something?
I think it was an interview. I'd have to look it up. I just remember trying to like look up more information and finding that. Um,
I must have
let me,
been asked. I must have been asked to do something like that. I hate those things. I hate them with a passion.
and then you come up with a babbling brook and a stony pond.
So
Nah,
embarrassed.
it's not pulling anything. I have to figure out where I found that.
It's
Um,
it's not the worst thing I ever done. There was an interview I did for like a video thing I did. I think it was for Variety or something like that, or it may have been
uh-huh.
something else. And they had, an in-depth discussion of like, what you can do with language. And so I was talking about noun classes. And I
Mm-hmm.
was gonna say like, but I think I was talking about gender and language, but it's like, but it doesn't have to just be male and female. It can be other things like this and this and this and this. And one of the things I said was big versus large. I meant
Well,
big versus small.
we sure, but sometimes
And they
it
they
all
even
goes.
they even put a little graphic up there, so it says big and large. And
Oh
it's
my gosh, that's
just,
even better.
oh, it's humiliating. Like, I don't know what I was
Sorry,
thinking.
I'm still
Anyway,
trying to find where I found this, and um, I can't remember. And also, it's like really, really weird that my search algorithms are different than like on this computer than they are on my home computer, because like it's trying to give me like natural language results and trying to find natural languages that look like the name Unjakin. And it's
I
so
found
bizarre
it.
to me. Where was it?
It is, this is something I sent. This is something I sent to the actors.
Oh, it was a guide. That's right. There was like a little like
Yeah,
pronunciation guide, a 2-page thing. Now I
yeah.
remember looking at it.
And look at that. If you go to the second page, uh, under practice, under vowel sequences, look where it has the stress for Simoa.
Oh, it sure does. So do you think the wiki is wrong?
Oh yeah, no, the wiki is wrong. I made a mistake. I
Okay,
looked it
okay.
up. But
So
yeah,
it should be Simoa. Okay.
yeah. So I sent this to the actors, and so yes, I made up something. I also evidently ended the first sentence with the brook in a stony pond thing with two periods on accident.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were just doing a fancy shortened ellipsis.
No, I absolutely would never do that. Oh, goodness gracious. That's one of the most embarrassing things I've ever put my name to. My
Well,
goodness.
we are just done here.
Yeah. Anyway, by the
Um,
way, I have no idea what that sentence means at all.
well,
I
that's okay because I made it pretty random.
Okay.
So, well, first of all, do you know any of the words?
Jitadosimohini and Giwa. I can tell you what the proto form for Tanu is. I know it has an Engma in there. I remember that. So that's the Simo is
Mm.
which, of course. An is genitive, or it can also be an ergative marker. I think that Hini might be bunny. Is that right?
It is.
Yeah. So the I have no idea. Giwa, is it rock?
So Giwa is actually, if it were in isolation, would be Kiwa.
Kiwa, yeah,
Yeah,
because
and
there's
then the an causes voicing, so
right.
angiwa.
Yep.
And that is the word for woman.
Kiwa is a word for woman. That's a recent one I created because when I was adding stuff to the wiki, I realized that the language just didn't have a word for woman.
And so now it does. And
Yeah.
then, okay, so G is an adverb and it
What?
means
It's
na
an
now.
Huh.
Did I put it in the
So,
wrong place?
uh, I mean, yeah, you can always go to the front if it's like that. So, the woman gave a rabbit to the witch, or gives,
It's actually the verb tanu means to help.
helped.
And
Huh.
so the witch helped the woman's rabbit.
Helped the rabbit of the woman. Oh,
Right.
yes. Okay. There would definitely need to be some extra grammatical stuff in there.
Sure.
I think sumo should probably come last because I think it's VOS.
Okay, so it's not listed on the wiki as far as I
Uh,
know.
yeah,
It could be in a list that I just didn't click expand. So I just did it based on examples, and I thought it was VSO based on the examples I could find.
it might
Um,
be.
but I also was not 100% sure with that, so I went with VSO.
It's so this language uh, this language tries to conspire to always have one argument on the verb, and
Okay.
it tries to rearrange things so that it only has one argument. Um, so like it would do things to shift
Mm-hmm.
stuff around. And incidentally, it makes it very difficult if you're going from examples to try to figure things out. Um,
Mm-hmm. And
I know that
also
from
the example.
experience because I was trying to do it too.
And also with the examples, some of them were with kind of quirky verbs. And so I wasn't
Yeah.
sure because it was like one of the, because not every word in the, in the vocabulary actually has an utterance associated with it. And so like one of them that I found for magic, because magic was one of the words I had pulled that I was trying to use, but I just couldn't work it in. But it was like, magic has existed in the kingdom or whatever. And so it's like exist is a
Mm.
really weird verb in many languages. And so I was going based on that. And then there was like one other sentence I was comparing that to because it also had magic in it. But again, it was with another verb and I can't remember what it was, but it was another one of those verbs where it's like, how does the language work with, how I didn't know how the language exactly worked with it. So I was just going with VSO question mark, which may not be correct. Okay. And by the way, in case I haven't made it clear, I feel like I've said it multiple times, but they need to bring that show back. And I love Moon Jae-in. Okay.
Mm.
So I feel like the listeners needed to hear that.
It's one of my
My ne-
favorites too. It was my attempt at Kamikaze done right. Mm.
mm,
Love
mm.
it.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you my next card because
Number 4.
number 4, I tried to get a translation and I read a lot and I clicked a lot and I went around in circles a lot. And this is all I left on the card was castathon, question mark, exclamation point, because I couldn't figure out how to translate a single darn thing into the language. Because
Boston.
it's like, I'm like, okay, it's an SOV language. I found that out by reading
Yep.
because that one actually has quite a bit of grammar on the wiki.
Mm-hmm.
But then every noun I looked up, there was like a noun form, but also a flood form. And I was like, well, shoot, what's this flood form? And then like I couldn't find it quickly.
Mm.
And then there's all these different stems. There's 3 different stems, which if I
Yeah.
had time to like really dive into the grammar, I could have figured out the 3 different stems. But I kind of put doing these translations off until last night. And so, I'm like sitting there like, how much time do I want to spend on Castathon before I just go in a very big spiral down grammar things. So can you tell me what's a flood form?
So in Castathon, the idea was that, and this is the canon story that we eventually ended up with. The Castathons were originally from planet Casti, which, whatever. But apparently, at one point in time, they came and conquered the planet Irath, where the Arathians were, and took it over. The people who did so they kind of thought of themselves as like kind of American style 1776 patriots. when they were really pretty bad colonizers.
Mm-hmm.
And so what happened was, at this point in time in the language, there was a conscious shift in vocabulary, not in grammar, where they just started talking about things differently to reflect their, hyper nationalistic worldview that
Okay.
everybody that came over to the new planet bought into. What
Okay.
happened with people that remained on the old planet is an interesting question that the series never really delved into. So because of that, when people spoke from then on, they tried to actively use this new vocabulary as this new way of thinking and new way of being,
Okay.
as they were presented themselves as cultural superiors. However, of course, language is language. So when they would get pissed off, they would dip back into the old language. And so
Sure.
my sci-fi premise was that children who were raised hearing this just believed that there were two different vocabularies.
Okay.
The one that you used in everyday life and the one that you only used when you were really upset. And so
Sure.
these were called the flood forms, when you have a flood of emotion that comes out and it brings it to the surface. And they were
Ah,
partially triggered by the usage of old pronouns, all of which were phased out.
okay. Okay. So I will say, in the vocabulary that is in the wiki, most of what I could have said to you would have been vulgar. I was not finding a lot of noun options that weren't insults, that weren't, that weren't flood forms. And so I was like, maybe I'll stay away from this one.
So
Between me getting confused on what the forms were trying to tell me, and then having a difficult time working through, because it's one of the noun class dictionaries, and so it's just difficult to try to read on a small screen to figure out
yeah,
all the different forms and how they go together.
so let me tell you about this grammar, because I was kind of proud of it. Um, the final forms for nouns and also for
Hmm.
verbs arose from an older state of the language where that allowed codas. And at one point in time, that just became disallowed. So you
Okay.
couldn't have word final codas, you couldn't have word internal codas. They evolved them again. You can have word internal codas, but you still couldn't have word final codas.
Okay.
And so something that kind of grew out of this pressure was not really a case system, but more like a definiteness system. There was kind
Okay.
of like definite marking, indefinite marking, and then there was a vocative. It was just used when you were talking directly to somebody.
Hmm.
And that was the oo form. And that's why the general citation form always ends in oo or o, because word
Okay.
final u dropped to o. For the others, though, when that system died, what was retained was the combination of a postposition with one of these forms and
Okay.
a specific meaning. So every noun is tagged with a postposition, kind of like in Japanese, outside of certain circumstances. And so, in order to produce a sentence in this language, I mean, you just take the verb and conjugate it however,
Hmm.
and then you decide, all right, what are the arguments, what are their roles, find the postpositions, and see what terminal form that postposition assigns.
Okay. Okay.
So
That
yeah,
sounds so easy.
it it is so much easier than a Raytheon. You just get
Well,
used to it.
so I feel it all makes sense, like hearing you say that, like things that I read in the grammar are clicking together now about Castathon, that it's like, okay, I get where these forms come from. And, if this weren't a surprise, I would have called you and been like, just tell me what's going on.
Yeah,
But then I did momentarily, I was like, well, I want to do a defiance language. So I did go over to Erathian, but there wasn't much information there on the wiki yet. And
difficult.
it wasn't anything that I could translate enough to make sense out of. So defiance is only represented by my question mark card. So that's that one.
Okay,
Okay, we're on the fifth and final.
okay,
Are you ready?
number 5.
Okay, this one is also going to be problematic for me. Okay. This one, oh, I also need to say this one is only a phrase,
Okay,
not a sentence, but it's a big phrase.
got it.
Erlu luopu kunebuso. I already did it backwards. Let's start over. Erlu luopu kunebusu keju kuduagu chemu.
I guess that's got to be the Shepas.
It sure is.
Whoa.
Okay, so pronounce it for me because this is awful.
Erluluopu ku nebosu keju kuduergu chemu.
That was so much more beautiful than what I did. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is, now we have a couple problems here. One, according to a Tumblr post that you wrote, verbs are just super complex, and so they're not going up yet on the wiki.
Yep.
And so there's literally like one verb. There were only one verb entry, and it was all different forms of the auxiliary for like to be.
Yeah.
So that was not helpful. So I decided to do like a noun phrase with like nouns and adjectives tied together with like and, but here's the problem. I couldn't find where adjectives went relative to the noun. And so I just assumed a noun adjective word order to go with what is slightly more typologically frequent, slightly
That is
though. So it
correct.
could go the other way. It's incorrect.
No, that's correct. You got it right.
Oh, that is. Oh, yay.
Yeah.
And then I shoved the and in between each one.
Okay.
So
But yeah,
ku is and, yeah.
I recognize some of these words. I recognize 4 of these words, but I can't tell you what they mean at all.
Okay.
Like
Okay.
luopu, is that round? Duergu, is that earth? Chemu, is that earth?
Oh, earth is in here.
Erlu is earth.
Yes. Okay. And then luopu is flat.
Flat.
So flat earth.
Flat earth. And
it's literally flat land because it's not just earth. So I wasn't trying to be a flat earther here. I like keep peeking under.
But yeah, like nebosu keju, I have no idea at all.
That one is, and this one, again, just having fun with what I can find. So this is quiet fog.
Oh, that's nice.
So nebosu is
nebos,
fog.
because this is a posteriori. You should be able to get some of this. Duergu. Door? Is that door?
Oh, it's gate.
Gate. That's it. It comes from the same root that gives us door.
And then chemu. Can you just
chemu.
based on holy.
Holy. Yes. And holy gate.
So holy gate. So flat land, quiet fog, and holy gate.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one I am curious to know, because again, like what I found on a Tumblr post of yours was simply the quote that verbs are very complex. And so I was curious what are, obviously not all of the complex features, because I'm sure there's a lot, but what makes them complex?
So the verbs came from PIE, Proto-Indo-European, and the only thing that inflects, I did the same thing actually for Penny Dreadful. The only thing that inflects is the auxiliary, which comes at the end of the sentence. And then the content verb itself comes at the beginning of the sentence.
Okay.
So it's kind of sandwiched with verbs. And the verb at the beginning is it's a participle.
Okay.
And it comes from PIE participles, and I don't get them.
Okay.
And they're very difficult to form, these participles. But it's like I definitively wrote up a post like somewhere in my grabber that says this is what all the combinations mean. So I did it somewhere.
Okay.
I mean, in terms of remembering it, I was just lucky that most of the time I was writing commands in that language. That made it nice and easy.
That is much better. But yeah, so I decided not even to try to look up verbs after I saw that post saying that they were complex. I was like, you know what? A noun phrase is good. Works. And so everything, there's a lot. And by a lot, I mean every single word on my card ends in an "u." Is
Yeah,
that intentional?
I mean, it's nominative. So
Okay.
yeah, so that case, it's the same thing. It comes from
Hmm.
Proto-Afro-Asiatic or Semitic. Comes from Semitic, where it's, the usual thing, where
Okay.
the "u" is nominative, "a" is accusative, and "e" is genitive.
Okay. And so would the adjectives agree? I mean, they do here because I have them end in "u," but do the adjectives then agree with the noun?
Yeah, they agree in case and number,
Okay.
just as
Okay.
they do in Arabic. Um, and when I say genitive, it also does have the construct state. Um, I forget how the E part works, but it's just like in Akkadian too. I think it was, genitive in Akkadian, wasn't it? Akkadian grammar.
I'm
Hold on a
just
sec.
smiling. Sure.
We're gonna get it. We're gonna get it right now.
I trust you.
Here's Akkadian grammar, morphology, case. Here we go. Yep, nominative, genitive, accusative. And there it ended in M's. So what's
Okay.
this? King, probably. So sharum is nominative, sharim is genitive, sharam is accusative. And then they have only two duals, I guess, nominative and oblique. And same for plural. Sharu is the nominative plural, and shari is the oblique plural. Cool,
Oh,
cool.
nice.
Anyway,
Good to
so yeah.
know. Well, you have done astoundingly well at my game, given that you had no idea I was doing this and that some of my pronunciations were rather fanciful.
You did pretty good. You did pretty good. I
Uh,
uh, I was tickled to death by that when you said that. What a charming idea.
well, I hope everyone else had fun because that was our whole thing. It has been about an hour as well, so
Yeah,
that was that is our entire episode.
yeah. I mean, I guess we should just say something. I don't know. Um, Either topical or personal. I
I was
mean,
just going back through it. Jita nu simoa kini angiwa. That's how I want to end my because it has a bunny in it, which is, totally connected with what we're doing.
here, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Did you have a phase where you were really excited anytime a Val Kilmer movie came out?
Mm, not really. Not really. I'm trying to think. I am trying to think of what during his big time.
Top Gun, Tombstone, The Saint, Batman Forever.
Hmm. No, I mean, I was aware of Val Kilmer, thought he was good looking, didn't mind watching him in movies, but I didn't follow him. Matt
Dang,
Damon came out with a new movie. I had that phase.
that was later. Wasn't that college for us?
Yeah, it would have started around 98, so late high school, because Good Will Hunting came out in 98.
Yeah, but then I
And
suppose once you were in college, you could actually get to a theater.
yes. Yeah, there was actually a theater in town at that point. So,
What an exciting time. Jesse, in the fall of 1999, what must that have been like? Did you see electric lights for the first time?
first time ever. Running water. Like, what is that? Oh, no, I mean, by the time I was driving, we would carpool like we would shove six of us into a car and carpool to a movie. So, totally saw movies. And I saw Titanic in the theater 3 times. So also a Leo
Wow.
DiCaprio phrase. Yeah, phrase,
Dang.
not phrase, but phase. Um,
I saw it the
Leo was,
once. We saw it once, but like when I say we saw it, it was 10 of us. It was
ah,
like a quintuple group date.
I will say that the 3 times that I saw it in the theater was over like a year and a half, because if you recall, it came out in like December of 97, and then it
Yep.
was still playing in like May of 99. So I didn't watch it 3 times back to back. It was more like, oh, it's still in the theater 6 months later, so let's go see it again. And then I would like go see it again. And so, yeah, it was out forever. Was that just in small rural areas? Or
No, no,
okay.
that was everywhere. That was everywhere.
I just realized, like, wait, maybe that was just because we were at the theater where you had 2 screens. Oh, back in the day when we could pay $2.50 to go see a movie.
Mm,
Those days are gone.
yeah. So as we close, I got a little treat for those on video.
Oh, hey. Okay, so is that just Roman curled up by a blanket, or are there 2 cats there?
No, he is amongst pillows,
Okay.
and there is a stuffed rabbit above him.
I do see the brightly colored stuffed rabbit. There was just a bump to what I think is the left of Roman that I couldn't tell if that was, nope, it is not even black. It is blue, the lighting.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, not a blue cat.
Meridian calls the rabbit Flapsa.
Flapsa. I like
Yeah.
that. We need flapsa to be a word. Not in that form, obviously, because we can't, but something like it.
It could be almost, it could almost be a Castathan word. Philapsa. Yeah, that would be Philapsa. That would be the perfective form of something. It could be a verb.
And I would assume it's a verb for to hop.
There is no word for to hop in Castathan, but there
There
is
is now.
now.
Perfect. What made you think of Val Kilmer, by the way?
um, I don't know. I was looking at your haircut and I was like, good hair. Uh, Things that we haven't talked about, usually the past, the 90s. Oh, Val Kilmer, he had good hair.
He did have good hair.
Yes, he did.
And did you ever watch Psych?
No,
Okay. Um, Unfortunate. Great show.
I
But
don't watch a lot of crime dramas.
but but it's kind of comedy drama. Anyway, um, so in Psych, there's like this running gag where they talk about Val Kilmer all the time.
Hmm.
And at the very end of the final episode, Val Kilmer makes a cameo.
Oh, that's nice.
And it's great. They also, in the final episode, because Dule Hill looks like, um, oh my gosh, I can't think of his name. He's the actor who plays Kenny on The Cosby Show. He plays Bud. Um,
He's the same actor?
no, they look alike.
Oh, I don't remember the
And
name
so
of the actor who played Bud.
people always confuse them. And Dion Richmond, that's who it is. And
Hmm.
so in the final episode, Dion Richmond was there too. And when you see them side by side, you're like, okay, I see why people confuse you.
Okay, so
But yeah,
you just dropped two major spoilers for the last season of Psych. Thank you.
sure, I can drop more. Do you want more?
I
I
think my
got more.
sister watches Psych. Maybe I need to go see it. All right.
You should. Oh, and there's like in the first season, there's an episode about a spelling bee.
You're pro spelling bees?
Why wouldn't I be? They're fun.
Oh, I'm anti spelling bees. This will be our next
Why?
podcast.
What's wrong with a good spelling bee?
Listen, we'll save this. We'll save this for next.
Okay. Well, will that be enough fodder for an entire hour?
No, but you know.
So I need to come up with some backup ideas. Okay. I didn't know if like your rant would go on so long that, all I would have
No.
to do is say spelling bee and then it would be over.
No, I felt bad because like we had like we had we had basically finished this podcast almost at exactly an hour. But then I was all
Mhm.
like, oh, but we didn't talk about personal stuff, and now I'm just dragging things on.
This is also how most of our conversations go.
This is true. This is true.
Oh, this chair, this chair. Okay, so now for real then, I think we're ready to
Yes.
say thank you and stay grammar and goodbye. Did you have anything to add?
Oh. No, just
No.
oh, brother. Um, you know what, kids, stay hydrated,
That's very important, especially
isn't
right
it?
now if like here you're undergoing a heat wave. So
Yeah.
yes, very, very important. Okay, so now we'll say farewell, adieu, see you
Bye.
later.